Finn Keegan with a speech entitled Cook to the Quick.
Contest Chair, Mr. President, Area Governor, fellow Toastmasters and guests. When I was young, my spinster great aunt Lillian Quinn lived 5 minutes away from us in a terraced cottage full of heavy furniture brightened by cream doilies, technicolor panoramas from Lourdes and bowls of plastic fruit. One Halloween, my Aunt Lillian decided to hold a Halloween party for all the children in her life, offering enough warm brack to feed not only every kid in town, but their descendants through 3 generations. Every surface in her front parlour was covered in plates, and on each plate there were neatly cut oblongs of delicious cake, far beyond what could possibly be consumed that night. I did my best to help work down that baked goods mountain, but at the end of the night, I don't think we got through everything. Now, there is a rule of thumb that's very useful for these situations, developed by an English monk 700 years ago, who said, "Do not duplicate entities beyond necessity." I'll say that again. Do not duplicate entities beyond necessity. And that rule is known as Occam's razor. Occam because the monk in question was called William of Occam, and razor because that's what we use to cut away the superfluous. To use the rule, you simply substitute anything you like in place of the word entities. So, for instance, imagine a football game with 2 footballs. Now, that might suit the Mayo team some seasons to have twice as much to kick at, but in fact, any game like that would quickly become unplayable. So, do not duplicate footballs beyond necessity in that case. Carry Occam's razor with you where you go. Learn that phrase off by heart and use it in your life. And it could really make a difference. But I think it could make a difference far beyond your personal life, in the life of your community, and in the global system of international finance. So I'll get to that. Are you ready to cut to the quick of your life? In your personal life, there's dozens of uses for the rule of Occam's razor. You could, for instance, avoid picking up your email more than once or twice a day, something I could live by a bit more. You could avoid hourly news bulletins, which simply duplicate the same news, mostly bad, over and over again through the day. Or you could avoid bringing home from the supermarket food that, in all reality, your family or yourself are going to be incapable of eating. In fact, the Irish family, on average, the average Irish family, wastes 30% of the food they bring home from the supermarket. So that's almost 1 in 3 of those heavy bags that you're lugging home from Tesco's or wherever you're not getting to eat. So, to spare yourself wasted time, wasted money, and backache, carry Occam's razor with you where you go. At the community level, imagine that a piece of malicious gossip comes your way. Wielding the razor, you decide not to duplicate that little piece of poison. And so a little bit of evil is stopped in its tracks. Conversely, if you hear good news about a very talented local musician or a new restaurant, you can duplicate that endlessly because there is no necessary level at which it is wise to stop duplicating good news. That's the local level. At the global level, we've been duplicating financial instruments for decades now, since about 1971. And the net result is that we've had 5 years of economic stagnation and what seems like an endless narrowing tunnel of austerity facing us. But it doesn't have to be like that. If we wield the razor in our financial services industry and confine ourselves to trading in the value of the goods and services that we actually produce with a sensible amount of credit on top, the amount of credit we need to actually stimulate economic activity and stimulate innovation, then we'd all be better off. And you and me and our neighbours and our descendants won't be penalised for outrageous speculation we had nothing to do with in the first place, or little to do with. So we've seen how Occam's razor can improve life at the individual level, at the local level, and at the global level. Back to my Aunt Lillian. My Aunt Lillian was so far from wasteful, she was positively frugal. Perhaps because she actually had to fetch all her messages back from the shops in the little wheelie bag that was her constant companion. I don't know what happened to all those baked goods, mountains of arm bragg from Halloween 1975. But it still lives on in my memory as a symbol of her great kindness towards her neighbours, my family, and myself. And perhaps the good monk William of Ockham might allow that there are some things in life that we can permit, even though they trespass beyond the bounds strictly necessary. And in fact, when you think about it, I'm still being nourished today by those cakes that you baked with such love. Thank you.